Final update. My dad doesn't buy me food, so I look for a job to eat at 14. But when my stepmother demands that I pay rent, I call the person who leaves them without food. For now, I'm not going to confront them. I need a plan. I'm determined to teach them a lesson for the unfair treatment they've put me through all these years. Does anyone have any ideas on what I should do? I'm back, and things have been crazy lately. Well, to be fair, they've never stopped being crazy. After discovering that my mom had been sending child support payments this whole time, and that my dad had been keeping them for himself, I knew I had to do something. But instead of confronting them right away, I decided to gather some evidence and make them face the truth in a way they couldn't deny. So I started keeping an eye on my dad. He always said he was working long hours to support us, but the truth didn't add up. He left for work late, came home whenever he wanted, and seemed to take days off whenever it suited him. He didn't seem like someone struggling to hold down a demanding job. I contacted some of his former coworkers and found out that, in reality, he had quit his job months ago. They mentioned that he had been skipping work frequently before that. Turns out, he had been lying to both me and my mom about having a job just so he could keep collecting those child support payments without doing the hard work he claimed to be doing. Frustrated but determined, I came up with a plan. One day, while they were out, I went through his things, including his laptop, and that's where I hit the jackpot. On his desk, I found a draft of a resignation letter. It only took me a few minutes to go through his emails and find the official one he had sent to his HR department about his resignation. I took pictures of that email, knowing I might need it later. But that wasn't enough for me. I checked the rest of his emails and took photos of any proof of recent purchases. In Hannah's purse, I even found receipts and bills for nail salons, restaurants, and shopping trips. It was more than enough evidence for me. If neither of them was working, it was clear where the money was coming from. They were using the money meant for me to fund their lifestyle while forcing me to pay rent and do most of the chores. I waited until dinner, when, as usual, Hannah tried to give me a lecture about how I should be more grateful for everything they did for me. That's when I decided to strike back. I calmly told them that I knew my mom had been sending child support all this time and that I had proof my dad wasn't even working anymore. The look on their faces was priceless. For the first time in a long time, they had nothing to say. Before they could respond, I went to my room and called my mom. I need your help, I told her. She told me I had nothing to worry about, that she had already hired a lawyer to take care of everything. Now it's just a matter of time before my dad and Hannah face the consequences. I'll keep you all updated on what happens next, so please wish me luck. Here's the latest on what's happened. As you might remember, last time I was here, I had just found out my dad had quit his job and that my mom had already hired a lawyer. Things have finally turned out well for the first time in my life. After gathering all the evidence I could, like those emails from my dad and Hannah's shopping receipts, I sent everything to my mom. She said it was a great help in building a case. True to her word, she filed a lawsuit the very next morning, and things started moving faster than ever. I mean, in just a few days, my dad was served with legal papers. I overheard him and Hannah arguing about it, and I can't lie, it was somewhat satisfying to see him panic. He had been so comfortable taking advantage of child support and ignoring my needs, but now he was facing the consequences. It was as if everything he had done had finally caught up to him. When the court date finally arrived, I was extremely nervous. I had to organize my thoughts and prepare to tell my side of the story, which was honestly intimidating. But my mom was there to support me. As I walked into the courtroom, I saw my dad sitting there, looking anxious. And worst of all, he was alone. His dear wife was nowhere to be seen. Once my mom started presenting the evidence, things fell apart for him pretty quickly. She showed all the child support payments she had made over the years, and my dad had no reasonable explanation for where the money had gone. I could see the judge growing more frustrated as my dad clumsily tried to justify himself. Then it was my turn to speak. I talked about the neglect I suffered, the adult responsibilities I was forced to take on, and how I often had to choose between basic necessities. The entire time I spoke, my dad stared at me, wide-eyed, as if he had never expected this from me. I couldn't hold back, and I started crying. When the judge announced the ruling, I felt like my heart might stop. Custody was granted to my mom. My dad was ordered to return the money he had taken, along with overdue taxes, and he was also ordered to find a job and pay child support from now on. For the first time, I saw my dad look scared and vulnerable, and I felt immense satisfaction knowing he could no longer escape the consequences of his actions. Even though it seems like a happy ending, it's not entirely. My mom certainly doesn't want to be a mother, but she agreed to let me live with her because I promised to keep working and taking care of myself as long as she provided me with a place to stay. It's not ideal, but at the same time, I prefer that over being placed in foster care with strangers. I don't expect my mom to turn into a loving mother, we're just roommates. It's actually a good arrangement for my mom too, because she gets to recover the money my dad wasted while also avoiding paying child support. 5 years have passed. I know because I turned 19 last week. A lot has happened in that time, and I'd like to share what my life has been like after everything with my dad and stepmother. The last thing I shared was that I was finally moving in with my mom. It wasn't the best arrangement, but at least it gave me a roof over my head and a safe place. Well, it actually wasn't that bad after all. No, my mom didn't start acting like a mother to me, but she realized that raising a teenager wasn't as hard as raising a child, especially after seeing how independent I was. She even started buying me things like clothes and food and offered me the chance to stop working. It was a tempting idea, but I love working and being independent, so I didn't want to stop. So I kept working until I graduated high school last year. That allowed me to save quite a bit of money, enough to move out when I turned 18 after landing a better job. I've thought about continuing my studies but haven't decided yet. For now, I plan to keep working since I have a pretty good job considering my circumstances. Maybe I'll start taking night classes. I'm used to putting in the effort, so I don't see it as an extra burden. My mom and I haven't had much contact since I moved out. We were just roommates all this time and barely saw each other since I was busy with school and work, and she was busy with her job. We say hello on important dates, and that's about it. I haven't heard from my dad since. He hasn't tried to reach out, and neither have I from what my mom told me. He repaid all the money he took, working 2 jobs to do so. But other than that, it's as if he's dead to me. As for my life, I've met someone, and we've started dating. For now, it's nothing serious enough to consider marriage. We're both young and have only recently started dating officially, but I enjoy being with her. I've even met her parents, and it feels more like a family than anything I've ever had in my life. Still, I never forget that effort and sacrifice are what got me here, so I plan to keep pushing forward and never let my guard down. I still have a long road ahead.